Okay, let's start right off the bat with a hard truth, one that honestly catches a lot of product teams completely off guard. Building features is not strategy. Shipping updates is not strategy. And actually, even having a perfectly color-coded roadmap is not a strategy. It is incredibly easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind of just shipping things and completely forget that users don't actually buy features. They buy outcomes. They want faster workflows, better productivity, less frustration. So today, we are going to completely dispel the myth that just pumping out tasks equals creating value, and we're going to fundamentally reframe how we think about long-term direction.
Welcome to this explainer on product strategy, from vision to execution. Really great product managers, they think way beyond the immediate to-do list. They think about long-term direction, business goals, market positioning, and how to create a genuinely sustainable competitive advantage. In this explainer, we're shifting our focus entirely away from that reactive, kind of random feature development, and we're going to look really closely at how the absolute best companies build long-term product direction that creates immense value.
All right, let's dive into our agenda for today. We'll start by crafting your product vision, then move into strategy, UVP, and advantage. Navigate some of those trade-offs and pitfalls, break down metrics like North Stars and OKRs, and finally, connect that vision to quarterly goals.
Section 1. Crafting your product vision.
Think of crafting your product vision as the absolute highest altitude of product thinking. Before you write a single line of code, you have got to define your long-term destination. But it's absolutely crucial to draw a really clear line between this vision and your strategy. So the product vision is your long-term future. It's highly inspirational, it stays pretty stable over time, and most importantly, it answers the fundamental question of why your product even exists. Now, your product strategy, on the other hand, that is action-oriented. It outlines very specific priorities that are constantly evolving to adapt to market changes. It answers the question of how you are actually going to get to that vision. Simply put, if the vision is your destination, the strategy is the actionable path to get there.
Let's look at what a truly world-class vision looks like in practice. Take Airbnb. Create a world where anyone can belong anywhere. Notice what's missing here. There is absolutely no mention of booking engines or search filters or payment gateways. It is a clear, inspiring, and intensely user-focused destination. It tells the team exactly what they are ultimately trying to achieve out in the real world, and that provides massive purpose and strategic alignment for every single decision that comes after it.
Or consider Spotify's vision for a second. Unlock the potential of human creativity. Now, what's really interesting here is how broad and outcome-oriented this is. Spotify isn't just focused on, streaming audio files faster. They are focused on a truly inspirational outcome for both the artists and the listeners. And when your vision is this clear, it acts like an anchor. It prevents the whole team from becoming super reactive and losing focus every single time a new technology or market trend pops up.
Moving right along to Section 2, Strategy, UVP, and Advantage.
So now we're going to drop down to the second altitude. We know our destination, right? But we need the exact plan to get there. Central to that strategy is your UVP, your unique value proposition. This is the core reason users choose you over the alternatives. Let's rapid fire some real-world examples. Uber's UVP? Fast on-demand transportation. Slack's is simple workplace communication. Notion promises a totally flexible all-in-one workspace. Notice how wildly distinct these are from each other? Identifying a strong, clear differentiation gives you a massive strategic advantage. If you don't have a clear UVP, you just end up with really weak positioning.
And once you have that UVP, well, you need a competitive advantage to protect it. So what is that? A competitive advantage is a unique strength that makes your product incredibly difficult to replace. Think of Apple's seamless device ecosystem. All the devices just integrate smoothly, users get locked inside that ecosystem, and suddenly switching to a competitor becomes a massive headache. So the takeaway here is that a true competitive advantage isn't just some temporary boost. It actually compounds over time. It builds a sustainable moat against anyone who's trying to just copy your features.
Section 3. Navigating trade-offs and pitfalls.
Up to this point, strategy probably sounds pretty clean and theoretical, doesn't it? But out in the real world, product teams face incredibly difficult choices every single day because, let's face it, resources are limited. Just consider the ultimate strategic trade-offs. Speed versus quality. Do you launch faster to capture the market, or do you take time to polish more and protect your brand reputation? Or how about growth versus profitability? Are we expanding aggressively and burning cash, or are we pulling back to optimize revenue? You literally cannot have maximum speed and maximum quality at the exact same time. Strategy is fundamentally about choosing what matters most right now, and then having the brutal discipline to actually stick to that choice.
Which brings us to the strategic pitfalls, the traps that will absolutely destroy your execution. The first one, trying to build for everyone. If you try to be a gaming platform and a dating app and a career network all at once, you will fail. Targeted platforms like LinkedIn succeed precisely because they are relentlessly focused. Other massive traps include just chasing your competitors blindly without your own strategy, prioritizing flashy new features over actual, real user problems, and ignoring market timing. Just remember this, the biggest reason products fail is feature overload. It creates confusion, massive complexity, and ultimately a really weak product.
All right, Section 4, Metrics, North Stars, and OKRs.
Now, to track if our strategy is actually working, we need a North Star metric. Think of this as a single metric that represents your long-term product value. For Spotify, it's listening time. For Airbnb, successful bookings. For Facebook, meaningful engagement. And this brilliantly illustrates why having a single North Star is so powerful. It aligns the entire organization, it completely cuts through the noise of vanity metrics, and makes sure that literally everyone is rowing in the exact same direction toward real long-term value creation.
But to break that giant North Star down into actual quarterly execution, successful teams use OKRs, objectives and key results. Your objective is qualitative, it's inspiring, like improve user onboarding. Your key results, though, those are strictly measurable. Increase activation rate by 20%, reduce onboarding drop-off by 30%. See the difference? This specific framework takes those lofty, kind of high-in-the-sky strategic goals and grounds them into focused, trackable execution that a team can literally tackle right now.
Finally, Section 5, Vision to Quarterly Goals.
So we've reached the final altitude of our explainer. Let's move to a practical step-by-step workflow you can use today and see how this builds an unbroken chain of logic. Step 1, you define that broad, inspirational vision, your long-term destination. Step 2, you set the strategy and UVP. This is your plan to win and the totally unique value you offer. Step 3, you pick a North Star metric to measure that long-term value. And Step 4, you draft quarterly OKRs to actually execute the strategy. This is exactly how the absolute best product managers operate. They are seamlessly connecting user needs, business goals, and technology, making sure that absolutely no one is just building features randomly.
I want to leave you with this final thought and, honestly, a bit of a challenge. Take a really close look at your own product today. Are you just shipping updates, or are you executing a real strategy? Ask yourself right now, what is your product's biggest strategic advantage? Because if you can't answer that immediately, it's time to step back from the roadmap, zoom way out to your vision, and start defining the unique value that makes you impossible to replace. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep building the right things, not just more things.